So this past week, I've found myself on Netflix because I've been binging Dawson's Creek, and I said, let me just watch something else as kind of a palate cleanser. And I saw this documentary pop up by Louis Theroux. He's a British journalist. I'd never heard of him before. And he made this new documentary called Inside the Manosphere. So I turned it on. And instantly, I'm just like, what in the world? What is this? I'd heard about the manosphere, but I never paid attention to it because, number one, I'm not a man. It just doesn't intrigue me in any way. I don't need to know about that. You know, God bless them. God bless men. Love you. Grateful for all the hard work you do every day in the world, but I can't relate to it because it's not my experience, right? But I found myself as I watched this documentary, this particular faction or group of it seemed to be young-ish men from Gen Z into their millennial years have globbed on to this movement of like, I guess they call it pro-masculinity. If you asked a liberal person, I'm sure they would say it's called toxic masculinity now. But it was just fascinating. It's just like there's this term called fuckboy, and that's immediately what I thought of when I saw the first guy that he went to interview. It's like these young dudes, they're buff, they've got these sleeves of tattoos, they hang out with these chicks with a bunch of fillers who are like stick thin.
Tribal tattoos.
Yeah, it's just a certain look, a certain mentality. They're misogynistic to me. I showed you guys quite a bit of it, and I know we all had.
I think one of the funniest things about these people are they all claim that they understand women.
Yes.
One of the funniest things about it.
Like behind the scenes. I'm like, but you just said that she's supposed to give you sex whenever. Like, what are you talking about?
Right. But they feel like, no, I understand women. I understand what they want. They don't want, they claim a woman doesn't want a partner. They want somebody who's going to tell them what to do. It's pretty fascinating.
It is. It's like,
I mean,
there's something interesting. You're talking about that their conversation about women, and I'm even fascinated that women are attracted to them. A lot of these guys that we saw have partners, multiple partners, and then I start to wonder, well, like, what is the attraction, and what are women thinking about dealing with guys like that?
Well, we looked right. One of them, his wife. Well, I guess she's not his wife. She's the mother of his children. She was on for quite a extended segment, right?
Yeah.
And you picked up on what you thought the deal was with her.
I think it's a partnership. I think they're in business together, and he has found a person that has perfectly matched with his mindset. And it's like, if you're going to go out and get the money like this, and the only thing I have to do, he mentioned that sometimes they'll have a threesome with his wife, then she's the one. I think that there's some women who are so. First, let me just say that I feel like there's a lot of trauma, childhood trauma involved with people like that. That's just me. You can
you're right about that, because all of them, this Louis Theroux guy, every single one of these men either didn't have a father or had a very violent, tumultuous upbringing with the mother and the father. Either one parent was like mentally unstable, like this guy you're talking about. The mom tried to set their house on fire, just like crazy stuff.
For insurance money.
Yeah, and beat his dad up in front of them. So you're right, but continue.
Yeah. So you know, and if a woman has agreed, this is just me, if a woman has agreed to that, like, okay, just bring the money home, because he took the filmmaker to his home. I mean, they have 2 beautiful children. She's pregnant. There's a Lamborghini and a big truck out in front, and they have this great home. In order for her to maintain that lifestyle, he's got to go out and get the money however he gets it. So she's got to be in agreement with that, you know?
I just want to know how it all came about, because it's like, well, I guess everything's divisive now because of social media, where you can go on and see one person with your viewpoint, one person without your viewpoint, and then you can argue between the two wherever you fall on the political spectrum, right? But it's like, I will say, this is swinging back to what we in modern times refer to as like the 1950s housewife husband, atomic family dynamic, you know, where the husband goes out and works and she just stays at home.
The whole trad wife thing, fallen into
that. So I'm just like, how is this swinging back? So it's the extremes now are so strange, you know?
Yeah, I mean,
but it's without the respect that those households had in the 40s and 50s. This is craziness now.
Well, it kind of goes, I guess, in the 50s, right? You had men having their affairs and everything. This feels a little different because, well, like the person that we're talking about, who Theroux interviewed, his the mother of his children. And it was just interesting because her rationale for why she's fine with, what did they call it? One-sided monogamy. Well,
Yes.
clearly she's not allowed to have other partners, but he is. And her rationale was, well, I've been in relationships in the past where I've been cheated on and lied to about it. So he's being open about it. So that's fine. And I'm just thinking, what kind of
He
wacko,
appreciates his transparency.
what kind of wacko trauma did you go through that you think that this is okay? But she does. I mean, like, so what can we say? She thinks it's okay. But I don't know. I think the
People used to
movement,
get divorced over that. You know
right,
what I mean?
right,
Yeah.
Like,
right.
okay,
Well, they don't
he's
have to get
cheating.
divorced because they did not marrying her.
Yes, right.
But I think it kind of grew out of the place where, everybody's got more freedom, and with freedom comes the responsibility to make decisions. And the fact that you do have the freedom to do lots of different things, it can feel very scary if you think you can't accomplish those things. And so I think that kind of makes people want to go back to what they think was a better time where people had prescribed roles. So if you were a woman that was growing up in the 50s, you didn't have to worry about what college am I going to get into so I can get a good job? How am I going to
Support
perform
myself.
in the job? How am I going to support myself? All you had to do was find yourself a man, right? And then for these men, they felt like, hey, I just have to go out there in the world and there's going to be a great job waiting for me. And now they feel like women are competing with them for jobs, and the world has changed so that if they're not, computer literate or something, they can't get a good job. And so I think it's because people feel more insecure that they're kind of wanting to go back to what they think is
It's a
a better
multitude of things. So I recently saw something, I don't remember whose show it was, but it was a podcast, and these guys were talking about, I'm not dating a woman unless she has a certain degree. She better bring something to the table. I'm not taking care of anybody. It was that round table
Yeah.
of black guys.
Well, yeah, I mean, so it's sort of like there's this whole spectrum, right? There are those people who want their partner to bring some added value, let's say, to their relationship. So probably so they don't have to feel the burden for themselves.
Exactly.
And then you have these guys in this manosphere thing who are like, all she has to do is clean the house and look good.
Mhm.
You know?
And let me screw people when I
Yeah,
want to,
yeah, and be okay with me.
with or without her.
It's just insane.
It's crazy.
So then you wonder why women, okay,
And then these people on social media, because they're social media, they get a follower. They can put their crazy shit out there.
That's what I was going to say. I think it's funny. It's like this old viewpoint or lifestyle coming back in, but because of social media, it's without the accountability. Before, if you cheated on your spouse, I think, in a time before all this technology existed for people to validate your experience, whether or not you were justified in
true.
doing it, you had to be accountable to people. Like people in your community would talk about, oh, you heard James has slept with such and such or blew up their marriage, but now it's like, well, yeah, I do that and I make a lot of money, so it doesn't matter. And look at these people, look at the Tate brothers, they do that. And, men can be this way and women are just, created to have babies for people. And see, look, I'm justified in what I believe. It might not even be that simplistic, but you can go and find proof for anything.
Right.
now,
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. Because, like you said, in the past, maybe, right? In general, if it came out that somebody was having an affair or whatever, broke up their marriage, right? People would probably within their circle that they're interacting with would judge them and judge them poorly for that.
Ostracize them.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
now, since you can put it on social media, there'll be somebody out there in the world. There will be probably thousands of somebodies out there in the world that will totally validate you for what you
yeah,
did.
it's true. And then you go back to,
And I'm not saying that if you cheat on your spouse that people should judge you. That's something you go through with your family. I'm just saying for the sake of this conversation, the accountability was there. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, I was just thinking about, like dissecting it even more. Going back in time, yes, you'd be ostracized if you went to church or at the market or, your social circles talked about they're getting a divorce, blah, blah, blah. But you also had some guidance from family and friends where people would talk. And I'm just saying now, as I observe people and these different generations, you have people who were raised by parents who had social media since they came into the world.
Yeah.
So the parents were a little bit more distanced rather than being more hands-on and giving people the life lessons and telling you like, "You know what? That's not right. Don't worry about that. That's bullshit. It'll turn itself around." And you got experience from those people.
Mhm.
You have a whole couple generations now of people who were raised completely differently. Kat and I were raised with two parents, right?
Mhm.
You were until a certain age.
Mhm.
And still, after divorce, you had a present father who
Right.
came over every day and we did family things together, right? So you have people who are raised by, and I'm not no shade, people who were raised by single parents, but you have when you have a distanced parent, and I mean, it is a distraction to be on social media and, at any time, driving, parenting, cooking, whatever you're doing. So as it came into being, you got the kid and the parent on the phone looking at stuff, right? Playing these games that make you think things are a certain way.
Mhm.
So the world has changed completely,
It
You
has.
don't have that person to step in and say, "Hey," you would have somebody you could talk to.
Yeah, I think this thing with social media, the more I study it or observe the effects on, from my perspective, on human society, is that it isolates people. So when you're isolated from people, you forget how to interact with them. You forget that they're, like we've talked about many times before, social rules. You cannot just insult somebody. You shouldn't do it on the internet, but you really shouldn't do it to somebody's face. And if we didn't communicate with each other so much on the internet and had to do it face to face, a lot of people would end up getting slapped now for saying some of the stuff that they do on a computer. So I think that too, people aren't interacting with each other as much, and
I don't even want to talk to you
yeah,
anymore.
it just it's so weird. People are, I guess they're just getting weird to me, and I don't
They
mean to
are.
be negative, but they don't know how to talk to each other anymore.
I wrote 4 letters yesterday, 4
Yeah.
notes to
Let
family
alone
members.
their kids, I guess that's the stuff going on at home too. So,
And it does have an effect on you, like Kat was talking about. You see a certain amount of trauma. You can just ID, like, I know why this happened. They didn't have any guidance. Something happened in their childhood. They feel empowered now by doing X, Y, and Z on social media. Then somebody follows them or likes them, and then it's like, "Ooh, I got something going here," right?
Right. And the whole way social media works, right? That algorithm and that echo chamber, right, just all serves to reinforce that.
Mhm.
So if you have some sort of antisocial behavior, some kind of pathological behavior or thoughts, it's just going to be echoed in your head, right? And so then you have all these people, like you said, kind of growing up in these like social isolation with their own weird thoughts echoing their head, right? And nobody telling them different.
No feedback.
Right.
Right.
What would happen
Right.
if the grid goes down and none of us can use our phones?
I think
Yeah.
people would riot for about 2 months, and then we'd all be living Amish lifestyles.
Well, it's
How
funny
long
'cause
would it take? I wish it would happen. I do.
every week I go to a camp up in the
Every year.
Stanislaus. Yeah. Oh, yes. Sorry.
Mhm.
Yes. Every year I go to camp for 1 week to someplace up in the Stanislaus National Forest. And there's essentially no internet there. I mean, there's like one place in camp which you could get internet now, but that's sort of recent. So, we've been going for 20 years, and in the beginning, like, that was it. You were just isolated. And one time, these friends of ours who also, would be up there every week, they brought their niece and nephew who were teenagers, maybe 15. And when they were told when we got there that they had no internet connection,
They slit their wrist, didn't
yeah,
they?
these kids were ready to die.
Mhm.
That is so bad. That's crazy.
But it's so great for like a week
Mm.
to just be completely disconnected. And, you can get the newspaper up there if you want, but we're just like, nope, don't even want the newspaper. And it's great.
It is.
It
Talk to
kind of,
people.
you talk to people, it kind of clears your
Mhm.
mind. You can just sit and think. You can just contemplate. I mean, I don't know. One of my big things is how kids don't know how to just sit and think
Yeah,
Yes.
anymore,
exactly.
Yeah.
right? Like for the
Most people
30
don't.
seconds that they're at a red light, they've got to be on their phone or something, and they have to train themselves to get away from
They
that.
really do. It's crazy. I've been taking longer walks here for like the past couple weeks outside. I make a concerted effort to, and Sometimes I listen to my music, but a lot of times I don't, and I have these thoughts, and I'm like, "Do you remember when you used to sit in your granddad's backyard and just stare at the clouds?" Like,
Mhm.
Lay down on the
I
grass.
can't even think of doing that. I mean, I
used to do
try
that.
to, but that seems like such a waste of time to me, but it's really not.
But it's not. I read
Yeah.
an article today about how vitamin D, how, people are so lacking in vitamin D and how we should be outside. I personally this week has spent 3 days all day until about 3 o'clock without any television on and any social media. And I got so much more done.
Yeah.
I just didn't turn it on. I didn't even think about it.
I'm thinking about getting a dumb phone because now I've realized like it's causing me a little bit of, I won't say stress, but I feel like if someone sends me a text or a short YouTube short or video,
Look at
whatever,
this.
I gotta
Yeah.
look at it right. I find myself looking like right then, and it's like adding to this non-existent to-do list in my head, you know?
Right.
So I'm like, shoot, I wonder if I could go back to using a flip phone or something. I do like to stream music though, but that's the only
You
thing
could
really.
you could get a used iPod. Remember the iPod?
Oh yeah, I have one with the
Always been-
batteries
My
on
my
it.
husband actually has one of those little tiny clip-on ones that they used to have.
Shuffle,
Yeah.
yeah.
Still have
I
one, don't
remember
we?
that. Yeah, I got you one for your birthday years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's on there.
But I don't know. I guess if you have sons now, just again, our PSA to the
Teach your
people.
sons to man up and just this is what you got to do.
That's what these people think
That's-
they're
But
doing.
not
Yeah.
in that sense. I mean
Yeah,
that
like actually mentor them, I guess,
Yeah.
like be there in
Yes.
person to have conversations with your son.
it's not some people are taught. I know back in the day like men were taught, man's not supposed to cry. That's a lie. You teach them the right things.
Yeah.
But are there people who are having kids now that have the capability of doing that? I mean, these people are so freaking different now.
They are.
People are different.
A lot of people are, I'll just say it there. You can come for me, Jay. A lot of people are basic now.
Really basic.
In the most literal sense of the word. So I don't know. I'm sitting here. We don't have video yet, but I'm sitting here just grinning like a dystopian grin. Like, I don't know. I don't know, dude. What does the future hold?
Yeah,
for us?
exactly.
Hey everyone, and thanks for tuning in to another episode. If you enjoyed what you heard, please follow, comment, and reach out on our socials. Also, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. If you resonated with anything in the episode, be it products or topics, make sure to check the show notes for additional information, or shoot us an email if you like. See you next time.